welcome to BBC Documentaries by MEN Productions. Today we've got a very special gift, so bring it up for Professor Edmund Fisher, who's going to be speaking to us a bit about Percy Shelley. Hello, nice to meet you. Please take a seat.
Well, thank you.
So, first of all, tell me a bit about Shelley.
Well, Shelley was one of the major English Romantic poets.
Yeah.
He was regarded for some critics as amongst the finest lyric poets in English language.
Yeah. So he's pretty much a very famous poet now.
Yes, he is.
Yes. So just tell me a bit of the basics. So when he was born, when he died.
Of course. Well, Shelley was born. Was born on August the 4th, 1792, in Horsham, in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
He also died on July the 8th, 1892, in Lurcy.
Lurcy, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think, yes,
Lurcy,
it is
yeah.
Lurcy.
It's always a hard one, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Italy.
How did he die?
Well, it was a very gruesome death, but he drowned.
Oh my god, that's never nice.
No.
Never nice to drown. Tell me a bit about his children. How many did he have?
Well, he had 3 children. The first one was Florence.
Yeah.
The second was William. And the last was Clara.
Clara, yeah. But I overheard that maybe William died. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And I think it was due. How was it due? I think it was due to some. He had some problem with the lungs or some disease. No.
Yes, it was.
It was like a
very sad day.
Typhoractic or something like that.
Yes. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know mainly about Shelley, not William.
Yes.
Okay. So that's good. Well, I'm sorry about it's not very long my interview.
Yes.
But you know, I was rushed in the car this morning. So yeah. So that's all I've got today for you.
Okay.
But it was very nice speaking to you.
It was very nice to speak with you too.
That's nice.
Yes. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye, and well, thank you for listening.
Hello. I'm going to talk about The Triumph of Life, written by Percy Shelley. He wrote this poem inspired by the death of his son. Swift as a spirit, hasting to his task, glory and good, the sun sprang forth, rejoicing in his splendor, and the mask of darkness fell from the awakened earth. The main themes of this poem are life versus death, light versus darkness, the power of nature over man, and the cycle of life. On line 9, there is an example of nature. All flowers in the field or forest which unclose their trembling eyelids to the kiss of day. This means that the flowers are opening to a new dawn. On the 24th line, there is an example of death. Stretched my faint limbs beneath the hoary stem. This means that he has been buried underground and dead, left for dead. An alliteration can be found on line 9 of Shelley's poem. An alliteration is when the beginnings of words in the same line or lines start with the same sounds. The alliteration in line 9 comes from the use of words flowers, field, and forest. In context, this is all flowers in field or forest which unclose their trembling eyelids to the sky, to the kiss of day. In this case, the alliteration brings the reader from the small flower to the larger field, and then the even larger forest, and thereby creates a sense of growing size and space. Shelley has used rhyme in the last words of lines 8, 10, and 12. The words he used were lay, day, and ray. A rhyme is when the words sound the same when spoken. Here in the poem, Shelley has used an end rhyme, which is a very common technique. It is used to make the reading of the poem sound more pleasant and appealing to the listener, and also to create a form or structure to the poem. Shelley has employed the technique of caesura to provide pauses in places other than the end of the line in several parts of this poem. One example is in his use of the colon and semicolons in the line 26 and 27. Of a green Apennine, before me fled the night, behind me rose the day. The deep was at my feet, and heaven above my head. Shelley uses the caesura to create a dramatic pause to that the lines provide more of a dramatic impact as we imagine the night being chased away by the rising sun.
Shelley suffered of unrequited love. During that time of grief, he wrote a poem which is called Love's Philosophy. The fountain might mingle with the river, and the river with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things but law divine. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not with me, but with thine? See the mountain kiss, high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother, and the sunlight claps the earth, and the moonbeam kissed the sea. What is all the sweet worth? If thou I kiss not me. The main theme of this poem is love between two opposites of nature. I have an example on line 9. See the mountain kiss high heaven. This is showing us that even two opposites of nature could love each other even if they can't reach. In the line 9 to 10, Shelley uses personification. Personification is the attribution of nature or human characteristics to something non-human. In the line 9 to 10, see the mountain kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. He is showing to the person that he loves that even two opposites of nature can love, but why can't they love each other? In the first stanza of the poem, the rhyme scheme is A-B-A-B, C-D-C. It starts off with a half rhyme, which is a type of rhyme formed by words with similar but not identical sounds. River, ever. It gives a smooth flow to the poem, but not as much as a true rhyme. Following later, there's a true rhyme. A true rhyme is a form of rhythm between two words or phrases, satisfying the following condition. Single, mingle. It makes the poem flow more smoothly, and it connects the different parts of the poem together. At the end of the 2 stanzas, the persona asks a rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is a figure of speech in the form of a question that is asked in order to make a point, rather than to oblige somebody to answer the question. Why not I with thine, if thou kiss not me? He's asking, why can't we be unified? Why can't you kiss me? He's asking the lady he loves, why can't they be together? In the line 7 and 9, we can see assonance. Assonance is the repetition of a sound of a vowel. Meet and mingle, high heaven. He's emphasizing how much he wants to be together as one with the lady he loves.
So I'm going to talk to you about Ode to the West Wind. In 1819, a disaster happened already for Shelley. His son William died in Rome from a sudden illness, probably from a cholera or typhoid infection. Shelley might have written this poem because of the loss of his son, but people also think he must have had in mind the Peterloo massacre in 1819. So, I'm just quickly going to read you a clip of an extract of my poem. O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven like ghosts from an enchanted fleeing, yellow and black and pale and hectic red, pestilence stricken multitudes, O thou who chariots to their dark wintry bed. The winged seeds, where they lie cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine azure, sister of the springs, shall blow. That's it. So, I'm going to talk to you now a bit about what the poem's about and the main themes. The speaker of the poem appeals to the west wind. In order to evoke this powerful wind, Shelley lists a series of things the wind has done to illustrate its power, like driving away the autumn leaves, bringing thunderstorms and the death of the natural world, and many other disturbing things. The speaker is almost wishing that the wind could affect him, like it does to the leaves or the clouds. But as this is not possible, Shelley asks the wind to play him like an instrument to bring him out of his sadness. So in the first line of the poem, there is alliteration. So alliteration is a repetition of the same sound or letter at the beginning of each or most of the words. So my example is, O wild west wind. So it gives this mysterious atmosphere with the w sounds. So the w sounds like the wind brings the reader straight into the atmosphere of the poem. So in the third line of the poem, there is a simile. A simile is a figure of speech that compares two things by using the words like or as. So, like goes from an enchanter fleeing. So, to make the image clearer a bit for you, let's use another example. The leaves are like the ghosts, basically. But this also brings a very gloomy feeling, putting the reader at unease. Once again, in the first line, there is a personification. So a personification is when an object or idea is given human characteristics. Thou breath of autumn's being. This gives human characteristics to the wind. The wind destroys and preserves while taking a breath. This is only possible for humans, and therefore makes the wind seem powerful, strong, and intimidating. So in the first line, again, there is an onomatopoeia. So onomatopoeia is a word that imitates the sound or suggests the source of sound that it describes. So my example is a wild west wind. with the W, of course, it is repeated 3 times. So not only this is an alliteration, but the W sound directly sounds like the wind blowing. It helps the reader to hear and be more involved in the writer's written word by describing an action with the sound. So if you go on section number 3 of the poem, and you go down into the 3rd stanza of that section, you'll see in the middle of that 3rd stanza it says, the sense faints picturing them, exclamation mark, thou for whose path to the Atlantic's level powers. So you can see there's an exclamation mark. So the technique is caesura, as we can see, and caesura is punctuation in the middle of the line. So as I say again, it is them, exclamation mark, thou. So it shows a change of direction from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic Ocean, but it also shows the power of the west wind. It is like Shelley. It is like Shelley's taking a breath and pausing. If you look carefully in the poem, there are 10 syllables in each line. We can see that this is an iambic pentameter, except that when you read the poem, it does not have a reassuring rhythm. It sounds almost a bit awkward to say. This is maybe to show that much more the mysterious side of the poem. Well done, guys. We have managed, finally.
Yeah! Oh, Nathan. Oh. Oh. Why? Who did this?
Wait.
Oh.
I need an umbrella now.
Oh. Jeez.